All right, so we're going to run through a whole bunch of the structures of the shark. This is a nice big shark. You can utilize the videos that your undergraduate TA made, or you can look to this as well. Okay, but since I have it in front of me, I figured I'd quickly make a video for you guys. So the first big structure that we see sitting in here is the liver. Okay, there are different lobes of the liver, and so you can see them all here. This median lobe, the one running down the middle, you can see there's a distinctive different coloration running along that right lateral side of the median lobe. This is the gallbladder, running along the right lateral side of the median lobe of the liver. The gallbladder, remember, stores bile. It does not make bile, it just stores bile. Running behind here is my esophagus. The esophagus comes down into the stomach. Remember, I had my greater curvature, my lesser curvature. This is actually the pylorus, so still part of the stomach. Pyloric sphincter is right here. This would be my duodenum. This is the first part of the intestines. The gallbladder and liver are draining bile into the duodenum via the hepatic ducts. We've talked about those. And we'll also see this glandular-like material here. I apologize that you can't see. There's not great light in here right now. My light actually just broke that I've been using. But this would be the pancreas. Okay. Coming off down here as well, you can see this structure. This is my spleen. Okay. Spleen. Reservoir of red blood cells. It's recycling red blood cells. It's doing away with bad red blood cells that we don't need anymore, dead red blood cells. The spleen's down there. Once we go from the duodenum, we go into the valvular intestine. And then we go from the valvular intestine down into the colon technically, and then here's the rectum. And the rectum empties, should cut through it here, into the cloaca. So if I put everything back together, this would have been the cloaca. If we go into the cloaca, you can see my rectum emptying in. So technically, that would be the anus. Okay. Now, one of the structures we've talked about before, you look within there, right there, is a little like finger-like projection. That's the papilla. If this was a male, that would be the urogenital papilla. This is a female, so that's the urinary papilla. Urinary papilla. Okay. And if I go to the back here now, back of the body cavity, this is actually, remember, the dorsal side. Lift some things up. I can see that blue vein running down there, and I can see some discoloration. So I have this pink body cavity wall. And then running along the back here is a little darker in color. Let's see if I can't zoom you in. See how this is darker in coloration? You can see all those veins and arteries reaching out to it. That's the kidney. Okay? In the female, the kidney is functioning as a kidney. It's filtering blood. And it's going to drain via archenephric ducts, which are going to be the small ducts running. See them right here. Out through, the archenephric ducts are running out of the kidneys and draining into that urinary papilla. Right here. This was a male, that'd be urogenital papilla, because remember, with the males, it's an accessory urinary duct that's draining the lower portion, the posterior portion of the kidneys. The anterior portion of the kidneys are functioning as Leydig's gland, and it's draining seminal fluid into the archenephric ducts. And remember, the testis in the shark, or the testes, are going to be producing sperm. That sperm moves into the archenephric duct via first efferent ductules that are going through the mesorrhecum, and then those empty into the epididymis. Epididymis then goes into the archenephric ducts. Archenephric ducts are transporting sperm in the male. Okay? We're dealing with a female though. Let me zoom out a little bit. That's good. And if we look back here again, so we are now a little bit more ventral. We can see these structures here. Move my shark around. Okay. This up here, it's a little thinner. This is my uterine tube. Okay. Goes down and forms my uterus. Here's my uterus. It's much wider. Uterus. This is just one uterus. The shark has two. So here's one I'm holding on to. If I flip everything over, on the other side, I have another uterus. Goes into a uterine tube or an oviduct. Oviduct further up. Uterus. Uterus. Oviduct. Notice here's my digitiform gland. We've talked about that before. Helps with osmoregulation. Let's go back over here. Here is my uterus. Here is the oviduct. Let's move up a little bit. Those oviducts travel up and they go behind or dorsal to my liver. And I think the best way to show this is if I move some things around here. We lift up this lobe. When we do that, this structure, this is my ovary. But if I move that away, here's the oviduct behind it. Oviduct is running behind it. Oviduct is running behind it. Here's my oviduct still running behind the liver. And then right about here you can see it starts to circle around. And now I'm ventral. Now I'm ventral to the liver. This was the falciform ligament, remember. That was running between the liver and the ventral portion of the body. And running in that falciform ligament was my oviducts. And if I look, within this, here's the opening. My forceps are now in the opening. My forceps have gone through the ostium tubae into the oviducts. Those oviducts split. One goes off to the shark's left, the other goes off to the shark's right. And they dive dorsal to the liver, and they run down. Remember, eggs are shed by the ovaries. This is being held to the body wall via the mesovarium. Okay, that's this ligament in here, mesovarium. This is my ovary. Eggs are shed via the ovary into the body cavity. They have to make their way into the ostium tubae and then into the oviducts, where they'll then be fertilized once copulation occurs with a male. I'm going to go the other way. One thing I wanted to show you, just because why not? So here we have our shark. Here's the stomach of the shark. Uh-oh, there's stuff in there. Let's take a look inside the stomach of the shark. Remember, the stomach is made to expand so that the shark can gorge on food when food is present. Let's see what we got here. What? Some kind of like herring. That's awesome. And then we start making our way up. Looks like that was it. He came across a big old fish and ate it. Operculum. That was the scale covering the operculum. Remember, we can keep cutting up along the sides. I see my rugae. Up in here I can start to see some papilla, esophageal papilla. Cool. All right, I think that does it. Good luck.